Hey everybody, check this out. Today I am here with Don Tyrell from DJ Graphics, and I've always been in shock and awe watching his work. Don and I go way back, like full flats on a Cadillac, right? So, we're kicking off this inaugural episode of the Marketing Velocity podcast. I haven't podcasted in many years, but hell, I'm back. So I'm back with the best. So Don and I, we met a while back. We were at a business incubator in Houston.
Yeah.
We were both kind of out there figuring stuff out, man. And I can say that I've always been impressed by Don's work, and
Thank
then
you.
I see this show that he's got that's just I'm on social media and this guy's everywhere. I'm like, come on, man, I'm supposed to be the video guy. He came to my video event. And then like everywhere I look, LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, where is this guy? And so Don does some amazing work. Uh, his show is called The Color of Motion, right?
Yes, it is.
Oh, and The Color of Motion, it's such a beautiful concept. And I don't want to downplay it by any means. So I want to leave a little room there, Don, for you to introduce yourself and The Color of Motion.
All right. All right. Well, thank you, Jaleel, for having me on the show. My name is Don Tyrell, and my company is DG Graphics, and I do motion graphics, video animation, digital design, and I help businesses and brands uh, look good and keep themselves top of mind with their customers and clients using motion graphics, video, and digital design. And I created, also am a live streamer and created several live stream shows. My current one that I'm doing every Saturday afternoon, 3 p.m. Central Standard Time on LinkedIn, YouTube, and Facebook is called The Color of Motion, where I like to say stories come in all shades. And I highlight people of color and diverse backgrounds in the industry of motion graphics, animation, visual effects, cartoons, and comics, and really enjoy bringing their story to the forefront. The ones that we don't typically see out in the main spotlight, and have had a chance to connect with so many great uh, creative people, from animators to storyboard artists, directors, producers, writers, comic book artists, just so many talented people out there that you not necessarily would know are out there doing the work. And I enjoy, like I said, really showing the diverse talent that's out there creating great stories and great content.
Yeah, I can see that, Don, because you do a lot of great work in the background and people don't see that. They see the work and they're like, man, that's a bomb animation. I love that. But it's not like you could throw your face into everything that you do, right? So
No,
yeah,
I try
it's
to when I can, but no.
yeah, it's tough out there for us, man. It's
Yeah,
tough.
yeah.
Um, and so I want to kind of get down into the nitty gritty of it because I always like for the podcast to be insightful about not only the business but also about my interviewee and really kind of get some insights into what things are really about, and so with that in mind, I kind of thought of a question like what's a commonly held belief about your role as an animator, as a digital content creator, that you passionately kind of disagree about?
Uh, well, I think the main thing is with prevalence of just computers and um, this age. I think the biggest misconception I think that I come across is that a lot of people just think it's comes with the click of a button, and that it's really easy to create something when it takes a lot of time and effort to make something really good and really high quality. So even with us having these great tools and softwares, it takes a lot more than just pushing a button to really create something.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you on that, Don. Because I mean, back in my website days, man, it was. I literally met with a client at her home, and she's like, "Well, I don't understand why this website is taking so long." And I was like, "Well, there's a lot of work that you don't understand, you know."
Yeah.
And she literally said, I mean, I was trying not to laugh like hysterically and fall on the ground, but she's like, "Man, I thought you just kind of threw it up into the cloud and something comes back down."
Yeah, you push a button and it's good to go and it's ready to go.
Yeah, I mean,
Oh
we don't have the Staples Easy button on the other side. We would
man.
love to, right?
No,
Yeah,
no, and I enjoy, well, not enjoy, but I think for me it's, I let them know, okay, well, you're more than welcome to try it yourself and create it. And 9 times out of 10, they'll usually come back and say, okay, I didn't know it took this much time to really create. And so yeah, that's the key thing of stressing to clients and people that, even the simplest of projects that you might think take a lot of time and effort if you want something really good.
good. Yeah, that makes sense, and it'll take a little patience on the client's end to kind of get you to translate it because it's hard to take somebody's vision from inside their mind,
Yeah,
pass it through all this open space and air, right? And
yeah,
then into
yeah.
your mind. We don't have the conveniences of the Matrix where we could just jack in and get a clear picture, right?
You know it right off the bat. And 9 times out of 10, they aren't even sure what they want until they see it. And then there's this back and forth about, well, can you change this or can you tweak that? Okay. That's why it takes some time, because it's not just, like I said, you know, it's me trying to figure out what it is that's best for you, that works for you, that's going to serve you, but still give you what you want. And like I said, when a client has kind of no idea what they want, it takes even longer.
Right. It does. So, how about let me throw you another curveball. This is just, so what do you think? What do you think the biggest challenge in the industry? What's the biggest challenge the industry is facing now? And then what would you say the biggest challenge would be the industry would be facing 10 years from now? So what's the biggest challenge the industry is facing now? And then what's the biggest challenge you think the industry will face 10 years from now?
Oh, well, I don't know if I would call it a challenge, but it's always uh something interesting because we're having to adapt to all these new technologies, new softwares that come out. And there, you can get a software, you can get hardware even, and by the time you unbox it and bring it home, there's a new version or new something out from it. So I think it's this constant thing of keeping yourself uh, up to date with the new things that come out and trying to figure out how you can use it, how you can leverage it. Moving forward, like I said, there's so many new technologies that are well, maybe not new, but like AR, VR, that businesses and companies are starting to figure out how to use. I think that's not so much a challenge, but really an interesting thing that the industry as a whole is kind of trying to figure out, just all these new things that are coming out. How can we use these new tools, new software, new hardware that's coming out?
And you nailed it again. Um, I find myself with that same challenge marketing, my brand and marketing other brands really is, I'm in my Facebook feed and I see all these tools, like these quick tools for, animate your video, let the AI put captions on it.
Yeah.
Um, And so
And
do
those
you ever
tools are great. I mean, they're great tools, but even within those ones that make it, which I think that's where a lot of people start to get this idea that it's really easy to do because they're seeing all these tools and softwares that are showing up on, social media promoting themselves. But even within that, there's still this creative space that people, the non-creative just doesn't quite get. And that's where, the timing comes in.
yeah, that's true. That makes a lot of sense. And so, a lot of stuff in the industry is changing. Of course, we can change is one of the things that we can definitely expect to happen, right? Um, and so, what's actually kind of kept me grounded for a while, was having a mentor, and so, who would you say your mentor or the industry role responsible, the industry role that your mentor may have, and then why is that person your mentor if you have one?
Wow, I don't think I have just one specific one. There are so many people that, like I said, I follow their work, watch what they do, um, try and engage with them and stay connected. It's always good, I guess, to have somebody that, that you can directly talk to and kind of get, feedback from. But when you don't have that kind of access, you tend to just try and, soak up all the content from that person. So there's, like I said, the shows has allowed, my show that I do has allowed me to really connect and with a lot of great people that I admire their work and what they're doing. I watch their style, look at their style, and just try and stay connected with them. I think that's the good thing is you probably shouldn't, nail yourself down to just one person. But fortunately, like I said, I've been able to really kind of just glean things from a lot of different people that I try and keep in my inner circle, so to speak.
Understood. You kept me in your circle, man. You're blowing up, and I keep telling you, once you get big and you've got your office space, I'm a very detailed oriented janitor, just in case you need the help. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna get those
Keep that in
baseboards
mind.
all up in the corners. I got you, man.
Oh man, I appreciate that, Jaleel.
Yeah. So
Now, like I said, I mean, you're one of those ones for sure. Like I said, I know when we connected, I was just so impressed with your branding and marketing knowledge. Like I said, I just try and make sure that I keep myself connected to people like that that I know that I can learn from. And I'm not sure who coined the quote, but I think the key is you want to surround yourself that around people that are doing better than you, or have better skills at things that you want to get better at. And so, like I said, I always appreciated just your knowledge and your skill in marketing and branding.
yeah, well, I appreciate that, Don. Like I said, I wasn't joking about that job, man. Uh, if this podcast doesn't go well, I'm gonna be in trouble.
Well, hopefully, what if I ever blow up to that big, I'll definitely keep you
I'll
in
be
mind.
here, man. I'll be here. And so, yeah, it's important, man. With all the screen work that we do, right? We spend a lot of time in front of the computer, and
Yeah.
man, I remember my old business partner. We were doing stuff in After Effects, and we had a tight deadline. And I just remember that he shot me an email. He's like, "Man, I feel like my eyes are gonna bleed." Yeah, I was like, "No, you can't do that. We got to get
Oh
this
man.
together."
I'm
Uh,
telling you. Yeah,
uh,
it's definitely a challenge, especially when you're one of those kind of creatives. We as creatives, unless you're working in a studio, you're kind of in this isolated bubble.
right.
Um, and it's so easy to kind of get lost in that silence. Which is why, like I said, I really do make a concerted effort to stay connected. And like I said, that's the good thing about social media and the technology that we live in today. That you can stay connected with people even if you are working in a kind of isolated space.
Yeah. So with that in mind, what is it that you do, or how do you keep that life work balance? How do you not be me?
Well, trust me, it's easy. It's harder for me. Like I said, I'm fortunate. Well, I won't even say fortunate. I mean, I don't have, wife and kids. So I'm in awe of the friends and people that I know that do have a family and have to split their time and kind of really balance that time. And I don't even know if there's such a thing as balance. You just try and manage it. Um, for me, I just try to manage not being on the computer just 24/7. So I do enjoy, getting out with friends and hanging with friends. But, you know, in my case, like I said, I don't have kids and I don't have, a wife and family. So it's a little bit I could spend a little more time if I so choose to sit down in front of the computer and spend time in front of the computer. But I know that even that's not a good thing. So, like I said, I enjoy my downtime of watching movies. I'm a movie fan, like a lot of people. I love to read, love the outdoors. So I just try and balance the time.
That's awesome, man. That is, that's one of those valuable lessons that I think that a lot of us could take away from, you know, doing, you know, work that's so important. Really, just to kind of make time for ourselves, and that's one place that I fell short myself was, I was like, I need to get a massage, but let me finish this contract up so I can get paid. You know,
Well, I mean, and if you're good at it, they all kind of feed one another. I mean, the things, your extracurricular stuff really should feed your work. Your work should feed your extracurricular activities, and it should be this kind of symbiotic type of relationship. It can be hard at times, especially if you're, on in a say like a studio and they're working on a big project. Of course, you're going to have to, dedicate long hours to finish the project, but even then, like I said, having that those other kind of things and interests that you enjoy doing, even if it's personal projects, always kind of feed into each other.
and that's an awesome that's a great answer. It really is. And I think we've got room for a couple more. I gotta ask this one. So, Don, if you were gonna write a book, if you were gonna write a book about the Don Tyrell experience, right? What would you write a book about? You have so many different there's so many different facets to you as a man, as an individual, but like what would you write your book about?
Well, first thing is it'd be probably a graphic novel today, but uh, I don't know. Like I said, you know, you kind of tend to think, well, what do I have to say? Is anybody interested about what I've gone through, what I've dealt with, and is it of any value to anybody? I've had definitely my periods in my life. I know one of the things I probably would share is just this bout of depression I went through, and how trying to keep myself motivated and creative while I was going through this kind of dark period. um I know that would be something that I would want to share in a book about me. And just you know family life. How do you stay how do you become an entrepreneur and try and build a business when you're really the only one in your family that's kind of doing that, and trying to balance the negative talk, and that your friends and families give you. But I'm not one of those kind of, got all these deep stories, I guess. But like I said, there are some things that I think that I've gone through that I know would probably help somebody. Like I said, just dealing with family issues, dealing with, like I said, my own bout of depression that I went through, and how do you get from one side to the other?
Yeah, that's really deep. And for me, I know what you mean, because it's, I anybody who really knows me, they know I'm telling, old army stories or old navy stories. And
Yeah,
to me, they don't, they were experiences, and they meant a lot to me, because I felt like it was worth sharing at the time. And so, I, I'm never really clear on the impact that it has on other people, right? The power of our own story in
yeah,
someone else's life.
yeah, yeah,
and and so, while me to me, it's kind of like, well, I just shared a story. It seemed on topic, I think,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
But
Well, I think that's what we all think. Some or most of us think that our lives aren't wouldn't help that one person. I mean, we all go through things and we all have these experiences, but I think we all think that, well, you know, aren't confident in our own story, which is, kind of, I think the thing that I'm just been recently learning. Everybody has a story to share, and it could help somebody out there, going through the same thing that you've gone through.
yeah, indeed.
And
Yeah.
it's interesting because I had this very same topic with a guest that was on my show early on, animator. He used to, at the time, he worked for Blue Sky, but I think he's at Pixar now. And super talented 3D modeler, and great guy, Andre Rodriguez. But he had learned and gotten into animation while he was in prison. And I was telling him, I said, that's, you ought to be on, this is something that you need to tell somebody, and he was really kind of reserved. Not that he was, ashamed of it or hiding it, but he just, I guess, never thought about the fact that, well, that could speak to somebody, even if it's that one person sitting in prison now that may watch it. But I thought it was just interesting that, he felt like it was, I don't know, wouldn't say insignificant, but just something that he never thought about sharing.
Right. And it doesn't click, because it's not really for us. It's for someone else. And so
Yeah.
there's no telling. Andre probably told that story, and there may have been someone else in prison who was kind of toying with the idea of maybe doing what he did. And
Yeah.
he may have sparked that catalyst, sparked
Yeah.
that flame for somebody
Yeah.
else.
Or just stop somebody from even going down that path, and it's just, you don't know, what your, you know, mess, you've heard the saying, turn your mess into your message. And a lot of
Mhm.
people, do that. There are a lot of people maybe are afraid of doing that. Like I said, I guess I was, the same way, maybe going through depression. I didn't want to talk about it and share it. But, as you start to get through it and you start to really see, how other people have made an impact sharing their trials, their struggles, the thing, because we're not perfect. I think that's the thing. We all want to show this perfect life, this perfect version, this perfect picture of ourselves, but people don't want to see that. People want to see that you've gone through something or are going through something, and can still keep moving through it. That's what inspires people. That's what keeps people, you know, um, moving themselves. That's what draws people to other people. Everybody likes a story, and everybody understands a hero, any hero. We're all heroes of our own story. Uh, we all deal, every hero has to go through a challenge, has to go through struggles. That's what makes the story great.
That's true. That is the meat of the story, and that's the peak. I love the study. I got into cinematography, like just watching movies and wondering stuff. Like I mentioned, The Matrix
Mm,
before.
yeah.
I didn't really catch that. A friend of mine brought that to me, and he was like, "Man, you wouldn't believe this movie." And I was like, "Yeah, okay." People running off of walls. They're inside a computer. I think my friend is high. And then I'm just like, I'm just blown away by, the creativity of it all,
Oh man, yeah,
the uniqueness of that type of like the animation and stuff. Like I watched the credits. Like
yeah.
my uncle who sleeps through the movies when we were kids, he used to take us to the movie. He'd sleep through the movie and then he would make us stay for the credits. And then we
Oh
would
man.
hear him like, on the subway in New York or around the city somewhere. He's like, "Hey, did you see that movie with Cuba Gooding Jr.? It was produced by Ron White." And I was like, "Come on, man, you slept through that." You
Oh
know?
man, but
Um,
it's such a great thing. I love, like I said, on movies, watching the making of the credit and credits. It's just like I said, I've gotten a much better appreciation for, everything involved that goes into it. And really, like I said, we go to the movies and enjoy it on a surface level, but really when you sit and think about, there's so many different meanings and different layers to stories, and like I said, it's usually deeper than what we initially think it is.
It is. I'm that guy who doesn't peel my face away from the screen. I'm the guy who watches it again. I'm because I want to catch something I didn't catch before. Or
Yeah,
like Amazon does it, where you can go through their X-ray thing and you can find the bloopers where they messed up, or
yeah,
the
love it,
Starbucks cup in
love
Game of
it.
Thrones, right? you know,
I love, like I said, I don't get as many DVDs as I used to, but because of streaming, but I love the, like I said, the additional content that they add, because like I said, you really, you don't see that. Most people just see the end product and really don't see all the little, things, bloopers and things like that, and just the time involved.
Yeah, it takes a lot. I mean, watching those credits and seeing all the people, responsible for
Oh yeah,
animation,
yeah.
not just people. I'm talking about teams, like
Teams
U.S.
of
team,
people,
India
yeah,
team,
India team.
Korea team. I'm like, man,
So much for, like I said, a hour movie, and even the 30-minute and short ones. It takes a lot of people involved. It really does.
yeah, it really does, and I appreciate that because they put in those long, hard working hours that I refuse to do in After Effects. You know, I call
Well,
you.
you definitely gotta have a passion and a love for doing it. And like I said, you tend to for me, I mean, I'm not a coder, so that's why I say I couldn't sit and spend my time coding something or writing code for something. But like I said, you have a passion. You have to have a passion for whatever it is that you do. And I appreciate people that, like I said, have a passion for rigging, have a passion for modeling, have a passion for coding and development. It's just, you know, there's so many different pieces that all make up the collective of one.
Exactly, man. And so I've got to get to the meat of this thing because we're getting close to the end. I
I thought
guess
this
they
was
don't
the
let
meat.
me do 2 hour podcasts the way I want to because I haven't caught up with you in a while. But
Yeah.
really the focus here, on the Marketing Velocity podcast is, you know, it comes down to this question of, what is it from marketing that got your show to where it is? Was there a secret, like a secret sauce or something like that, certain social media network, or was there some sort of marketing activity that you used to help you gain the momentum that you needed to launch the Color of Motion?
Well, obviously there are tools and things that make certain tasks easier, but I think for me, the meat of it that I think has made the show start to gain traction and really get momentum was the relationship building. I spend an inordinate amount of time really building a relationship with all the people that I have on the show. And like I like to tell them, I don't have guests on. I have friends. I have my friends on. So it goes beyond them being on the show. The friendships that I make, and I think that's really what's made the difference for me for the show. In my opinion, was that I spent a lot of time really being uh, honest and strategic about the friendships and really deepening, following what they do, commenting on what they do, sharing the things that they're working on, really being a friend and really creating a friendship with them.
Yeah, that's really important. Because those connections are really going to last, a lifetime. And we all know. I mean, as far as motion graphics and our little community here, it's probably obviously not the biggest community out there, right? But
Yeah, yeah.
these communities tend to bring stuff back around, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's a small, I mean, and I'm just talking, in animation and kind of the space that, I kind of enjoy. It's a small community, and that's how, creators go from one studio to the other. They built a relationship with somebody in the studio that, hey, I work with, Joe at this studio's great guy, and they bring him in, and it's a small community. So if you're a kind of a pain in the neck, it gets around quick, and really prevents you from going far in the industry. Um, but for me, like I said, I really do have deep respect for the the content and the things that all my friends have done um, to this point, and enjoy highlighting it and enjoy seeing the things that they have coming out in the future.
Yeah, it's going to be big, and I got a feeling. I mean, you're a good guy, Don. I don't see that somebody wouldn't pull you in and make get you in there. I
Well,
really
it's not so much about me getting, having them get in the studio. I mean, because like I said, they're working on their own personal projects. I may have an idea for something, and you build these relationships and friendships. It's easier to, oh, hey, I was been thinking about this idea, and I connected with a writer. Can you kind of help me? I'm not a writer per se, but you're a writer. Can you kind of help me flesh this out, word wise? And it's really, like I said, I don't go into it, with the idea of, okay, I become friends with them so they can get me in the studio. But I know that, if you're truly honest about, your friendship with them, then they're easier to, like I said, help you on something, or refer you to some position that may come across their plate. Like I said, my goal is to really just build a friendship first and foremost. First and foremost, and if there's any way that I'm able to help them, whether it be promoting their own personal project they're working on, or promote their work or their last couple of movies. I get a lot of comments from a lot of my guests that have been on that they thank me for doing the platform, because they aren't really put out in the forefront like a lot of people are, and it helps them to put a face out there. Like I said, I know how important it was for me when I started out to see somebody that looked like me, that was creating characters that looked like me, that was out there doing it. So, you know, to that young person that might catch the show or might catch the replay somewhere or might tune into the show, that might be that spark they need.
Well, I'm sure you're going to be the one to ignite it without a doubt. I know that last question was a little tricky, but I'll
Yeah.
leave it at this that if I don't see your names in the credit to some movie or some animation, I'm putting your name in the animations that, that you end up doing for me because,
Oh man.
I
Well, that's
mean,
my goal. I hope to. Like I said, I want to be able to not only help other people tell their stories, but to create my own stories to share, and I look forward to that.
so is there anything else you want to share with the people? This is the time for the shameless plug if you want.
Well,
Uh,
definitely check out the show. Like I said, I have lot of great friends on the show. Every Saturday afternoon, 3 p.m. Central Standard Time, live. But you can always, and I go live to my LinkedIn, YouTube, and Facebook group for the show. But I highly encourage everybody to go to my YouTube channel, youtube.com/Don Tyrell. You can check out all the great episodes. This week's guest is another example of just a great friendship and connection I've been able to make. And he worked on actually last year's Oscar winning Hair Love short. Um, and a big executive and director with Netflix now. So he's doing a lot of great things. So love for anybody that's interested in the space to check out the show. Definitely connect with me on my social channels. You can find me on LinkedIn, YouTube, Facebook at Don Tyrell. Love to get connected with you. And if there's any way that I'm able to help and support your business with what I do, feel free to reach out.
Connect with this man right here. I'm telling you. And so I thank you, Don. I really do, because like I said, I'm trying to dust off my podcast skills. And what better way to launch with the man of motion himself?
Yeah, man, I appreciate you so much, Jaleel. Like I said, I have mad respect for you and the things that you do. And glad to be able to call you friend.
Yeah, same here, man. So we're gonna get something on the calendar to follow up because I know you got more great stuff coming. It's just a matter of time. I'm willing to bet on it. So, I really enjoyed this time with you to, give people a little more insight into who you are, the color of motion, and really some insight into the industry. So I can't wait to do this with you again. And thanks a lot, everybody, for tuning in, whether you're watching, you're listening, iTunes, Spotify, website, social. Thank you so much for taking the time out to check out Don Tyrell, and I'll see you guys on the next one.
Thanks. Appreciate you.